this, all that means is in your zip file somewhere, you got the thumbsdb file that Windows likes to create. Okay, it's very easy to go in your skin package and actually delete it out of the zip files. But if you don't want to do that, there's an easy way to do that. And I'm going to go over this. I'm not going to go over this slide, but you can find it when these slides go up. But you can just go in and disable the generation of that thumbsdb file. You don't have to worry about it again. But basically, when you go into settings, you see there's a little checkbox there. It's not checked. I'm one of the people that actually goes through and deletes them because I just like thumbsdb being there for everything else. So, anyhow, hiding the menu. All right, you've seen this in some sites, mostly Flash sites, where you don't see the menu on there, but you may have found out it's a DNN site. Well, how'd they do that without a menu? You can't get to any of your other pages. There's a way to hide it. This is an example of a family site I did, where you see there's no menu up there. You do see that there's some static pages that are there, but that was done in the skin to put the actual links in there. I'm going to move this to the middle. I think you lose me when I turn my head. But basically, you can put a skin out there to where the menu's not there, unless you're logged in as an admin. That's pretty cool, right? So that way you have an admin, they can still do everything they need to do when they're in there as an admin to manage pages, move them around, change skins and all those things. But the public won't see it. All right? So it'll look a little different. And that's incredibly powerful for skin sites that are heavy in Flash. All right? So basically all you do, there's one change in here. You see this is already a menu pane. All right? So this is once again, trying to stay with a regular name for a pane name, okay? We got menu pane, all right? There's nothing crazy about that. When somebody sees menu pane, they know it's a pane that has a menu in it, right? Okay, so basically all we did is just did a regular pane, but we put the tag, or the token for the menu inside of there. Typically that would be empty, but we put that in there. And so what you end up with when it gets rendered and parsed, well, first parsed by the scan engine, right? And then rendered by the .NetNuke. Oops. Wrong way. You end up with something like that, obviously with whatever design you chose, but you don't have the menu on there. So that's a very easy way to do it. Now the reason I bring this up is because I've seen people hack the heck out of DNN to get rid of that menu, and sometimes it's very ugly. And then you obviously have upgrade issues. That's an easy way to get rid of it. Yes, sir?
Why would you just not take the menu out of that skin?
If you do that, when you're logged in as an admin, you'll have to manually put in the URL to get to the admin pages. That's a great question. There's probably other people that were thinking that themselves. You can have a shirt, sir. Any other questions on hiding the menu? All right. Changing the DNN icons. This is mostly applicable to those that have darker skins. All right, whether they have a black background or like a dark brown or a dark whatever. Okay, so the default DNN icons, if you put them over a dark background, they have this little white texture around it because they're all GIFs. All right, that becomes a problem with those darker skins. It's very easy to change that out, though. All you do is go to the images directory that's in the root of your site and put in a new image with the same name and same dimensions. Now, you want to make a backup of the old ones just in case. All right, but then you can change those out to have your own images. Now, this is great from a branding perspective. All right, so that way when you look at your site, actually I think I'll give you a really good example. Unfortunately, I didn't have that one up. When you look at your site, you can have your own icons, so when people look at it, people that might be DNN savvy, they don't automatically go, oh, that's a .NetNuke site. And they start forgetting about your brand. We don't want to we don't want to make our customer think and stop thinking about us and thinking about something else. We want them to think about the product that whatever we have going on. And come on, wireless. Did anybody hear that? Wasn't me. Yes, sir.
Does that go through the circle with the question mark on the blocking page?
It goes for all of that stuff. There's that, and there's those default little error icons that, like, some of them are red with the exclamation point, some are yellow with the exclamation point. There's all kinds of icons. The little loading circle. Like for our site, we are our Green Travel Hub and Res Hub, and we got like Volunteer Hub and stuff like that. So we turned ours into a little hub. So things like that. And for some reason, it's just not coming up right now. And I know it works. My wireless isn't quite good. All right, we'll wait for that later. There we go. So basically, you have your own icons, and you can change those out so you can have your own branding on your icons. Especially like if maybe blue is not part of your scheme, and those little question mark icons that are blue, they wouldn't fit in. All right. So that gives you an easy way to get around that. All right. But just remember, make sure you have the same dimensions as originals, and make sure you know the impact of what they're going to do. Make sure you know that okay, well the question marks are everywhere. Okay, or the other icons, whatever the icons are, you know where they're going to be, so that way you don't put it in there, and later on somebody comes up and says, "Yeah, that just doesn't fit, guy." Okay? All right, increasing skin performance. To you, sir. All right. One of the things you can do, first off, is there's a portal CSS that you can get to through your site menu. All right, your admin menu in your site settings. At the very bottom, there's a style sheet that you can do to override all the rest of the styles that are on your skin or on your site in general. Basically, if you remove everything in there, you just make it empty and save it. Now the browser doesn't have to parse that, and you have that basically 0 megabyte file download from your server. All right. There's other tools out there, such as Page Blaster and other modules that allow you to remove that reference completely. So I encourage you to look into those type of things and find what fits for you. Remove all unnecessary white space in your skin. That's very important. There's all kinds of space just because there's white space in there. But you want to be very careful with it, and I'll show you in the next slide why. All right. Use compression to bring down the file size. The white space and the compression are built into DotNetNuke. You can do that yourself without having to buy any other modules. But there are modules out there that are a little bit more powerful than what it affords you. All right. When writing JavaScript, it worked before you broke it. I love the name of that slide. Well, is there any question on increasing skin performance? Just a few tips I had. Yes, sir.
I just always heard not to use the built-in white space filter. Is that still the case? Because I never witnessed it. I had a problem with it.
I've never had problems with it as long as you have a non-aggressive regex expression in your white space filter. The more aggressive you get in it, the more breakages you'll find. But other than that, I've never had a problem with it personally. So I can't tell you yay or nay. I've had no problems. Any other questions on that? No? Okay. When writing JavaScript, don't use the 2 slashes to comment your code if you're somebody that comments your code, which I hope you are. Maybe not in your client-side stuff, but at least in your other code. The reason is, when you use those white space filters, that may break your JavaScript code because you get rid of that new line, and next thing you know, the rest of your JavaScript on that line is all commented out. All right? Wrap it instead in those slash stars. Okay, make sure you do that. Write XHTML compliant code. I cannot tell you how important that is. Do not put any visual attributes into your HTML. That is even more important. All right, at that point, your skin will not be CSS changeable. So, in other, if you put the visual elements of your skin every time you have to update, like for instance, that current date. Well, it needs a style, right? That current date example I gave you earlier. Maybe the default style doesn't fit your skin. Maybe the color needs to be white and the rest of the text is black. Default text is black. So, if you put that kind of stuff in your CSS, you don't have to worry about that. You just put the skin token in, and everything else is done. All right? Or maybe somebody didn't like a certain shade of gray or something. Put it. Go change your CSS, and all the rest of your skin files are fine. Put everything into your CSS. This is hugely important. Always make sure that your skin files, your design is expandable. All right. How many times have you run into somebody using whatever website layout you had? They put a huge image in there, and next thing you know, your whole design is broken. I'm sure there's plenty of people nodding their heads on the inside. Y'all snoring awake, are you? And the shirts didn't even bring you up. All right. Basically, make sure that whenever you make a design, you test it out. See if it expands to going wide, and make sure that when it does, your format doesn't break, and it doesn't look, ugly. Even if you want to have that fixed width, there's always going to be a point, and I have this argument sometimes with designers, there's always going to be a time where it's not going to fit. All right? There's going to always be somebody that's going to be putting something in there that's going to make it not fit anymore. And even though you may say, okay, well, my company, they're all responsible, and I told them, and there's a policy, and blah, blah, it's going to happen. Make sure you make it expandable. Okay? And expandable, just to make sure I'm clear, is when you have it at a certain size. Let's say it's 500 pixels wide, whatever it is, 775 for the entire thing. You put the picture in there that's 800 pixels wide. It's going to expand. All right? No matter what, that's HTML. It's going to expand. All right? Make sure you account for that. Demonstration. Do I have time? I have time.